Okay, so we were discussing about cyclone formation, and some technical words like global wind and other aspects of wind throughout. Okay, so and also we did discuss about the other things like wind engineering, how we can calculate wind load on buildings, and what are the parameters that influences the effect of wind on building, and how do we understand all that. Yeah, and also we have seen the basics of wind flow in buildings, and then there are two concepts that we should understand. One is Bernoulli's effect and also the stack effect. Okay, so one works with temperature and other works with pressure. Yeah, so I hope you must have got some broad idea about how this works. Okay, and then I also said there are certain things that can be done, how it can be tested, for example wind tunnel testing, or you can use simulation softwares as well. And then I said we have a code where we can actually go and check how what the codal provisions say about wind load calculations in buildings. Okay, so I have said there are different aspects in which the wind is calculated. We saw this, what is VZ, the design wind speed, and then the wind speed, okay, using this diagram. Okay, basic wind speed of India, this is one of the parameters that is used, and all other constant factors, variable factor, not constant here, that's a wrong use of word, but there are different other parameters that influences, and each one has its own conditions. Okay, so how it is selected we saw last time. Okay, now what I would like to do is this is about wind load calculations at building level, but the major focus of this subject is on broader aspect. Okay, so how this wind is translated, or it is seen from cyclone perspective. Okay, so this is one diagram which I thought this summarizes what are we talking. Actually there are two components, two or three components that is form of that constitute the cyclone structure itself. Okay, so the first part is the central part, which is also called the eye. Okay, so where actually we'll experience the formation of cyclone, and which can range to which can range up to 20 to 30 kilometers of radius. Okay, and predominantly in this central portion, normally we do not experience any rainfall or neither the pressure of wind. Okay, so it is actually a kind of a cylindrical pressure, okay, that is formed. Actually there's nothing happens here in the center of the cyclone. Okay, whereas the immediate ring, the immediate extent, okay, so which is let's say roughly about 30 to 50 kilometers. We are talking in kilometers. Okay, kindly check the scale of wind and the scale of rain that we are talking here. Okay, so that the second ring, okay, which is full of moisture and which is full of rain, it can range from 30 to 50 kilometers of radius. Okay, so that will have that is the actual component of cyclone. Okay, where one is the eye, where which can extend up to 30 kilometers in radius, and also followed by another set of wind pressure zone where the actual destruction or actual impact can be observed. And apart from that, the extent of this can be felt. Okay, the extent of this wind particular cyclone can be felt up to 600 kilometers. Okay, so I hope now we are able to at least understand the scale of the problem that we are discussing. Okay, so a cyclone formed in, let's say, Chennai may have an impact somewhere in Orissa also. Okay, the same way, a cyclone formed in, let's say, for example, West Bengal or in the coast of Orissa, that can be felt in southern part of the Tamil Nadu and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is the actual diameter in which the impact can be assessed. However, the impact of this can be felt across up to a large extent. Okay, these are big numbers that we are talking here. Okay, so this is one simple structure that you can remember. Okay, when we talk about cyclone, what is the scale of impact that we are talking about? Okay, so of course, cyclone, when we talk about cyclone, it is not only restricted to the wind and rain. Okay, in it some of it can it will lead to thunderstorms, and it can lead to storm surge and so on and so forth. We will see it as we go further. What are the other components other things that will impact that we face as a result of cyclone? Okay, so one such thing is storm surge. We will see it probably when we go further. Okay, so we are now actually discussing about the cyclones or the tropical cyclone. Okay, when we with respect to Indian subcontinent, when we say cyclone or tropical cyclone, both are synonymous. Okay, a tropical cyclone, is also known as cyclone, is a warm core low pressure system that develops over tropical or subtropical waters, and has an organized circulation with a wind speed of 120 kilometers per hour. Okay, so there are 2-3 keywords that is mentioned here again. Warm core low pressure system. Okay, and it forms in either tropics or subtropic regions. Okay, and it will have wind speed of more than 120 kilometers per hour. Okay, so what is this warm core? Warm core literally means the warmest air located in the center of this storm. Okay, this warm air is generated by couple of different mechanisms. That one is latent heat and condensation. What is it? Let's see here. This is one of the indicative diagram which can help us understand what are we talking about. Okay, the first one is warm moist air moves from the ocean. We are talking about how the cyclone is formed. Okay, and what is the phenomena behind this? Okay, so the first thing is the surface of the ocean or the water is heated up. Warm moist air moves up. Water vapor raises into atmosphere. Okay, and as the water vapor rises, it cools and condenses into liquids. Okay, that's the formation of the rains, initial moisture because of the condensation. Condensation releases heat. As a result of it, some heat is released. Okay, again, like we have been discussing, hot air has the further tendency to move up. Okay, so when condensation takes place, okay, heat released into atmosphere, making into air still lighter, and then it further moves up. The warm air continues to rise with moist air from the ocean, taking it, creating it into more, generating more energy as it moves up. Okay, so this is the basic things. If you remember, we have discussed this in the uh, local wind as well. Okay, and we saw two cases. One is what happens between the sea and the land during daytime and during night time. Okay, so in both the cases, if we have carefully understood, the hot air raises up, okay, and it gathers, it tries to replace the cold air and the vice versa. Okay, so the similar phenomena occurs at a vertical sequence in the surface of sea. Okay, so this is the basic thing that happens while the cyclone is formed. Actually, in general, if you see, okay, how the we know about land surface temperature. Okay, we know that. Okay, for example, even without knowing what is land surface temperature, this is one of the technique we use for assessing the temperature of different places. Okay, so we use GIS, we use some geospatial technique for generating land surface temperature. Okay, so that probably, let us say, we have satellite images. Okay, so using satellite images we will be able to generate what is the land surface temperature for today. Okay, so like that, sea surface temperature can also be generated. Okay, so if you see this, and we have also discussed this, these are the regions where we can experience slightly larger sea temperature. Okay, throughout the year. In general, sea surface temperatures are warmer along the eastern coast than the western coast, and are warmest near Indonesian sea regions. Okay, so this is one observation, and also this is directly linked to number of cyclones being formed in this region. Okay, so temperature difference. Okay, that's a basic thing that we should understand and we should know. And how this temperature difference occur is because of the uneven heating up of the sea surfaces across the globe. Okay, one thing. And this is one just indicative image that they have mapped from 1945 to 2006, the number of cyclone that has taken place across the globe. Okay, so, and one more thing that we we should remember is the number of cyclone that hits the eastern coast. Okay, so I have some more statistics, particularly with reference to India and Indian subcontinent. Okay, and how the eastern coasts are impacted by these cyclones. Okay, so there are three stages of cyclone formation that we should understand. Not every cyclone will have similar effect. Okay, similar it will create similar impact on the land. Okay, however, there is a difference in there are three stages of cyclone formation. Okay, so we will see what is it and how these differences, how they are different, and how each one will have its own impact on the land and other things. Tropical cyclones are classified, and it is based on the form and intensity. A tropical disturbance, okay, this is the first thing that happens in the during cyclone formation. What is a tropical disturbance? Okay, a tropical disturbance is an organized convection, generally 160 to 500 kilometers in diameter, having non-frontal migratory character and having maintained its intensity for up to 24 hours. Okay, there are 2-3 words that is there here that we should keep in mind. Yes,
you talk with Nivedita, right?
Yeah, 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock we are starting, we are breaking at 3.
Fine.
We have to be there, na?
Fine.
And then we again start at whenever we can start.
Yes, sir. Yes.
4:15, 4:30. In that case,
Okay, sorry about that. A tropical disturbance. Okay, I have used 2-3 words here. Let us understand what are these words. It is a non-frontal migratory character. So that means when we observe the, let us say, when we have observed the satellite images like this, and also, or maybe let us say we have one image. Let me see if I can open it here live. Yeah, let me check this. Okay, for example, let us say we have, you can see live, these are live images actually. You see there are certain spaces where we can actually see the kind of cyclone being formed. Okay, so whether all these are actually turning it into cyclone, or these are different there are different stages, okay, after which the actual cyclone is formed. Okay, so if you see global images, we can see wherever you see there will be for example, let us say whether this can be can we call this as cyclone, or is it in these initial stages of its cyclone formation. All that requires fair amount of understanding based on how the formation can be understood. Okay, for example, let us say where is the presentation? Yes. So if you see this, the first is called the tropical disturbance. Okay, that will be there, that we can able to observe in the that we can observe that there's some kind of a disturbance that has that can be seen in the ocean. Okay, that is persistent for over 24 hours. Okay, so when we see certain things like that, when we see the when we see such thing happening, okay, we may think that okay, we may start preparing, or we may start monitoring it, okay, to check whether this tropical disturbance is converting or forming it as cyclone or not. Okay, so this is the first thing that that happens, that we should keep in mind. Okay, and the second one is, okay, the second one is called tropical depression. This is the next stage after disturbance. Okay, a tropical depression has one or more closed isobars and some rotatory circulation. Actually, here in the first case, what happens is we may see that okay, there's some kind of the kind of images that you see here. Yeah, so these are not actually for example, let's say, yeah, these are we can see that there is some specific pattern of wind moving in specific direction, but it is not it is actually not making us at one isobars. Okay, for example, let us say I hope you understand what is an isobar. We have discussed this. Okay, one line, you can understand that there is a line. Okay, these are not closed isobar lines, these are open-ended isobar lines. Okay, for example, let's say what can be a closed isobar lines. Maybe let's see if this is happening. Yeah, this can be taken it as one example for closed isobar lines. Okay, whereas these ones, okay, these are not closed one, this is actually open-ended one. Okay, so for example, in the first case, in tropical disturbance, these winds which are more than 120 kilometers per hour can be observed, but not necessary that it may eventually form as a cyclone. Okay, the second one is actually a depression where it is a closed isobars. So that means in the first phase we may observe that okay, there's some kind of wind pattern that is occurring in a specific direction. Okay, and it is there for over 24 hours. Okay, so then when such kind of phenomena is observed, the meteorological department says that okay, there is a tropical disturbance at a particular location, and it will be closely monitored. Okay, maybe if you have read or if you have seen the news readers, they will say that okay, the meteorological department has said that is there some depression has formed, okay, in the Arabian Sea, okay, or some disturbance is observed in Arabian Sea, something like that. So what does that disturbance is that they are able to see there's some kind of specific wind pattern being formed at a particular location for over 24 hours. The disturbance should be there for more than 24 hours. Then they say that okay, there is there's a possibility of changing. There's a possibility that this will change or form as cyclone or depression. This is the second stage where disturbance can transform into tropical depression. The third stage is actually the tropical storm. Okay, a tropical storm has a closed isobar and a distinct rotatory circulation. So this is where it actually takes the overall energy and then it tries to move from one place to other, and it subsides on the place where it hits. Okay, so there are three stages. One is disturbance, and the second one is tropical disturbance, tropical depression, and the third one is actually the formation of storm. And this is the one which we are concerned with, and depending on the intensity and depending on the form, the impact can vary depending on the strength of the cyclone formation. So this storm may lead to the storm surge, which actually causes the impact on the land surface. Okay, till the first, second, and even in the third stage, these are phenomena that takes place in the seaside. Okay, so when it hits the land surface, okay, when it hits the surface of the land, all the energy that it has got gathered, it starts shedding. Okay, and as a result, probably we may encounter heavy rain, of course, high intensity of wind. Okay, and the extent of which can be felt from huge. Okay, these are not small numbers. 8 to 160 kilometers of distance. Okay, so the actual impact of the cyclone is the storm surge that takes place, and the intensity of rain and the wind it brings it on the land surface. Okay, so depending on this is how the tropical cyclone is formed. Actually, depending on the location, these tropical cyclones can be classified as hurricanes, typhoons, and cyclones. Okay, we call it cyclone or tropical cyclone. In the other regions, they are termed as hurricanes and typhoons. All three are synonymous. Only because of differences in location, The words are they use different words. And as far as India is concerned, okay, we have seen this earlier as well. India has a coastline of more than 750 kilometers of land length, okay, and 5,000 kilometers along the mainland, 130 kilometers in the Lakshadweeps and other islands as well. Okay, because since we have this huge landform, okay, and huge number of people living in the coastlines, okay, the impact that we encounter along this coastline is severe. Okay, although North Indian Ocean or basin generates only about 7% of world cyclone, their impact is comparatively high and devastating, especially when they strike the coast bordering North Bay of Bengal. Why? Because of direct population numbers. Okay, the vulnerability increases, the risk increases because large number of people are living in these coastlines, and any small disturbance may lead to huge impact. Okay, the frequency of cyclone in the North Indian Ocean basin can be understood in two ways. One that forms during May and June, and one that forms during October and November. Okay, so tropical cyclones are characterized by destructive wind, storm surge, and very heavy rainfall. That's what I was trying to explain it. And it will have an impact both on the humans and other livestock as well. Okay, and if you actually see the statistics of these in the sense of this wind, whether we are affected by wind, or it is because of the rainfall, or it is because of the storm surge. If you actually see the numbers, storm surge is responsible for 90% of the loss of life associated with the cyclone. Okay, so that's why when we were discussing about floods, I thought I will keep the mitigation and case studies to be discussed along with cyclone shelters or cyclone mitigation, because this is closely linked. The kind of preventive measures that we will be discussing here in terms of structural, in terms of physical measures that we will be discussing here will be quite similar to what we will be discussing in the floods. Okay, so that's one thing. And also, if you see the numbers, there is a statistics. These are again from where I am taking all this. What is the source of the discussion that I am telling you? Okay, these references are, again, we should go back to the National Disaster Management. What is that? National Disaster Management (ND). National Disaster Management Act is there. Not Act, National Disaster Management Board 2019, there is one manual. There they have documented all this, okay, statistically, what is the number of cases, number of cyclones that India has faced from recorded history. So if you see, a major cyclone has impacted on the Indian subcontinent. If you see the statistics, they mention that of 23 world mega disaster with respect to cyclone, 21 has occurred in Indian subcontinent. Okay, when we say major, we relate this to the loss of life in terms of its impact. It usually produces higher sound surge as compared to elsewhere in the world because the special nature of coastline, shallow coastal region, and characteristics of the tide. So we have discussed this somewhere in the when we talked about the terrain also. We have seen the topography is almost flat in the coastal regions to up to large extent of inland. Okay, so that is also one of the reason why we the impact of cyclone can be felt in very severely. Coastal impact is significant because the low flat land, this is what I was trying to say, high density of population, this is number 2, and that is a major factor actually. In fact, a low awareness of the community, inadequate response and preparedness, and absence of any hedging mechanism. Sorry. Yeah. So there are certain things that we can do. Okay. That is what we are discussing in this subject. One is of course making being sensitive or making this once again. Sorry. Yeah, one is about awareness, okay, and how we can prepare our communities to respond to this kind of disaster, and what we can do as an architect and planner in terms of some planning and structural intervention to reduce the impact of cyclones on the habitation. Okay, so and also if you see this is again statistics. If you divide the number of incidents that has taken in the western coast and on the eastern coast. Okay, so Kerala, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Goa, Gujarat. If you see the number of this is number of cyclone that has taken place on the eastern coast. Okay, between it is over a century's information is available here. Okay, so if you see this, these are major events. Okay, we are not here. All the events are not documented. Only major event is documented here. Okay, but whereas if you see the same thing on the eastern coast, West Bengal, Orissa, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and Puducherry, you can see that the number of cases is huge, and also this is also a global phenomena. Okay, all the eastern coasts are more vulnerable to the disasters, particularly of cyclone, because of this uneven heating up of the sea surfaces. Okay, so this is a natural phenomena, and we have to we are facing it on a regular basis. Okay, and actually if you see Andhra Pradesh that we are concerned with, Krishna district is where we are situated. It is one of the most affected area in terms of cyclone. Okay, district. Okay, similarly in other places we can see how the number of major events that has occurred over a period of time can be observed from here, and this also leads, or this also indicates that the sensitivity of this area with regards to cyclones. Okay, and also if you see the frequency, okay, this again taken from the same National Disaster Management 2019 manual. They have said that based on the cyclone, I told you, right, there are 3 stages. One is cyclonic disturbance, the second one is depression, and the actual cyclone formation. Okay, so if you see the number of this is between 1890 to 2000. If you see the number of disturbances that has occurred in Bay of Bengal and particularly on east coast side, you can see that there are recorded more than thousands of disturbances that has occurred. Okay, when we say disturbances, I hope now you are able to recollect. There is high possibility that this disturbance can turn into depression, and which can in turn turn into cyclone. Okay, so more than 1,000 such event has been observed, and particularly in the month of August, a high number of such incidences have been recorded. Okay, and on an average 10 such event has been recorded. Okay, when we see the speed and when we see the intensity, more than, these are big numbers actually, right? So out of 1,000, okay, 600 plus has actually turned it into depressions. And also the same in the month of August, more number of such cases can be seen. Yeah, and yeah, this is what about 60% of cyclonic disturbance is converted into depression. Okay, and of 60%, actually 25% is actually formed as a cyclone itself. Okay, this is the statistical information based on the number of events that has occurred. Okay, and this cyclone has actually formed into severe cyclone, and which has got more devastating impact. About 16% of the total disturbance that was yearly observed has actually turned it into severe cyclones. Okay, so that's why we every year, okay, we the coastal cities are warned, or the coastal cities prepare for disasters, cyclone, specifically a cyclone. Okay, we have seen certain things in the initial slides. There is some core, okay, and which is warm, and then there are other things. This is called I, and also the extent of cyclone and the extent to which it can impact. These are actually signs based on continuous observation, based on over a period of time. The cyclone formation can be actually pinpointed. Okay, so you can ask how the cyclone disturbances are identified, and when do we know that it is forming as depression, and when do we know that the depression is actually forming as storm, and so on and so forth. Okay, so if you see, if you can relate these things under broader time, cyclogenesis, so we can see that these phenomena are quite common, and these phenomena are observed, and if this thing happen, the cyclone formation can be observed, or this is how the cyclone formation is notified. Okay, so what happens? The first one, a warm sea surface. When we say warm sea, what is the temperature? If the temperature, it can be more than 27 degrees Celsius of temperature is observed, and more than 27 degrees Celsius, not on the surface level alone, up to 60 meters, the water can be, the temperature of water can raise up to 27 degree, up to 60 meter depth. Okay, so when we say warm, okay, in the initial slide I said warm eye. Okay, this warm eye, and we said that this can extend up to 30 kilometers of radius. Okay, that's a huge surface. Fine. So this is one thing. The second thing is high relativity in the atmosphere that can reach up to 5,000 meters, 5 kilometers of height. Okay, so there is the radius we already discussed. The radius can be up to 20 to 30 kilometers of surface of sea. Okay, and the water in these surfaces can up to a depth of 60 meters. It can raise the temperature can raise more than 27 degree Celsius. Okay, and because of that, high humidity, relative humidity can be observed in this region. Then atmospheric instability that encourages the formation of massive vertical clouds due to condensation of raising moistures. Okay, so now if you can relate to the image that I showed, once the surface is hot, okay, and we know that there is a cycle that takes place, okay, hot air has the tendency to raise up, yeah, and as it raises up, I think now you can relate this discussion with this image, okay. The warm moist air moves up, okay, water vapor raises up into the atmosphere, and some of it cools down, and then condensation again takes place, and further air raises up. Okay, so this is what happens when during the formation of cyclone. Okay, low vertical wind shear between the lower and higher levels of atmosphere that do not allow heat generated and released by clouds get transported from the area. This is another thing. The pressure of cyclone forces that initiates and favors the rotation of the air in a cyclonic manner. Location over ocean at least 4 to 5 degree latitude away from the equator. Okay, so one such eye or the cyclone is formed. Okay, so it acts as a block. It will act like a cylinder, a physical cylinder on if you see three-dimensionally. Okay, and also because of the continuous wind that it experiences, it moves from its place of origin to some specific location because of the global winds that it impacts. Okay, and as it moves, it takes all the energy that it has. Okay, because all the global winds or all the wind that impacts this cylindrical formation. Okay, the air is actually gathered, and the energy along with is huge, and it carries and hits the surface of the earth. Okay, wherever the cyclone subsides. Okay, so these are certain keywords that or phenomena that we should understand when we say cyclone is formed, and the intensity, all that it depends on where it is formed, and the energy depends on how big the eye is, and how the air that is impacting this cylindrical formation of cyclone, and all the energy it gathers, and where it lands. Okay, that is also another thing based on which the intensity can be understood. And I have said this, depending on places, the cyclone can be synonymously used as hurricanes, typhoons, or cyclones as such. Okay, though tropical cyclone differ by name, depending on wind, specific regions, this can be classified. Actually, in Indian case, this is data taken from the Indian Meteorological Department. It says when do we call low pressure area? Okay, when the wind speed is less than 31 kilometers per hour is observed. Okay, when do we call that? Okay, this now there is a possibility that depression has formed. Okay, when the wind speed exceeds 31 kilometer per hour, okay, up to this extent, and then they call it deep depression. Okay, we have summarized it. Actually, we said disturbance, depression, cyclone formation. Okay, so they have further classifications. Depression, cyclone formation occurs when the speed exceeds 60 kilometers per hour. Okay, and again the storm, the cyclone can be further classified based on the energy it gathers over a period of time. Okay, so it can be termed as severe cyclone if the wind speed is more than 80 or 90 kilometers per hour. Okay, and it can reach as up to more than 200 kilometers per hour of wind speed it can generate that much of energy. Okay, and now probably you should be in a position to understand when we discuss cyclone, it is not only the impact that we will be able to see around 30 to 60 kilometers. Okay, it can extend up to 500 600 kilometers of the land surface. Okay, and also if you see the other interesting thing about cyclone is tropical cyclones are named to enable easy identity and to eliminate confusion. These names are taken from lists which vary from region to region and are selected few years earlier. The list is decided upon depending on the regions, either by the Committee of World Meteorological Organization (WMO) or National Weather Offices (IMD), for example, India. Okay, which involves in forecasting. Actually, each country is given an year. For example, let's say 2000, any cyclone. Okay, any cyclone that forms in 2021, it will be named by India or Indian Meteorological Department. Okay, or on rotation basis, the country is given to monitor and name cyclone. That's why, for example, now you must have seen all this Fani and other cyclone names that we have observed. How do we name it? Who names it? There is a special agreement on how to identify who will notify and who will name it. Yeah, this is one thing that we can observe. And like I said, storm surge is one of the most important thing that will have major impact because of the cyclone. Storm surge, which is coastal phenomena, is inherent catastrophic feature of cyclone world over. The degree of disaster potential depends on the intensity of cyclone and its storm surge. Okay, so we have certain structural measures, mitigation measures to prevent storm surge. We will see it when we see case studies, and also some specific physical mitigative measures for storm surge. Okay, and of course the impact of cyclone is generally devastating over all the coastal areas. However, we have specific cities or specific places where the impact will be more, either because of the density, population density that we have, and also the kind of preparations that we have in it, what the kind of physical and non-physical interventions that has been implemented in these coastal regions. Okay, so when we say storm surge, okay, if you see diagrammatically, I have shown in the initial case, storm surge can go, the extent of impact can be felt up to 160 kilometers as well. Okay, the water can raise. Okay, the water can raise up to 12 meters high and on as well. Okay, in fact, we have a map that shows probable maximum storm surge that can take place based on historical data. Okay, like we have flooding information map. We have one map which shows to what extent the water can reach, to what extent historically water has reached, and probably we can expect that okay, it may not go beyond that. Yeah, this is one thing that we should keep in mind. Okay, and how these informations are actually conveyed. Okay, so suppose we saw that IMD Indian Meteorological Department has given specific classifications like depression, not disturbance, depression, and formation of storms. Okay, but how do you know and who pronounces it and who makes decision on that, and then who conveys it to the government or the stakeholders or even for the general public? Okay, so IMD is a nodal agency in India for providing cyclone warnings through its area cyclone warning centers in Kolkata, Chennai, Mumbai, and cyclone warning centers in Visakhapatnam, Bhubaneswar, and so on and so forth. Okay, and also now we have sophisticated technology. Probably when you were here in the campus, I think you must have experienced. You will get a text saying that there is a high possibility that within few hours there could be heavy rain, or there could be lightning, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we have such cyclone warning systems here, including in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so that is one way in which these informations are conveyed to general public. Otherwise, we have a specific hierarchy in which the information is shared from the central agencies to specific regions. For example, we have regional specialized meteorological center, RSME, New Delhi. They coordinate with other nations. Okay, other nations in getting the information from other such regional centers. Okay, and that information will be conveyed to local or area specific cyclone centers. Okay, so that the information is passed on from top down as well. And also we have bottom up information as well, where for the very good example for that is the SMS that we receive for here in Andhra Pradesh. So it works in two way. Okay, top down and bottom up information reaching it out, reaching the public and stakeholders. Doordarshan and All India radio stations in New Delhi are provided cyclone information by these regional centers in Delhi, so that they read out during the news time. Okay, and there are different stages in which the cyclone warning is sent. Okay, that is also another crucial thing that we should understand. And also we have seen briefly now that there are three stages of cyclone formation: disturbance, depression, and storm, and then leading it into cyclone of different intensity. When do we send alert? Do we send alert during disturbance, or do we send alert during depression, or do we send when the actual cyclone is formed? Okay, so for that also there is some protocol, there is some specific guidelines mentioned, which is actually a 4-stage warning system is adapted by the Indian Meteorological Department. Sorry. First, special bulletin called Pre-Cyclone Watch is issued, containing earlier potential indications about development of cyclone disturbances. Okay, in the North Indian Ocean region. Okay, so when there is an observation from the Indian Meteorological Department that there is a possibility of, or they have already identified that okay, a cyclone disturbance has been formed. Okay, a pre-cyclone watch warning is or bulletin is sent, so that the stakeholders are prepared. It is possible. It's possible development into cyclone and adverse weather can be specified. Okay, so the first thing is the pre-cyclone watch. Okay, at the second stage, a cyclone alert message is issued within 48 hours prior to the expected time of commencement of this disturbance to depression. Okay, so cyclone alert is actually sent 48 hours prior to the observation. If the IMD feels that or based on their assessment, if they quantify or they quantify that this disturbance has the potential of being converted into cyclone. Okay, this warning is sent. A cyclone warning is issued again 24 hours in advance of cyclone's landfall in order to cover the devastating impact of cyclone over the inlands. Okay, so the first alert is actually sent in the pre-cyclone watch as a bulletin that there is some kind of disturbance we have observed, and the second alert is sent 48 hours before, okay, when the disturbance is actually converted into some kind of a depression. Okay, and the third alert is sent 24 hours before at the actual setting up of cyclone. Okay, from depression to cyclone it takes time, right? So that when the IMD observes that this depression is actually has converted into cyclone, a warning is sent 24 hours before such storm. Finally, a post landfall outlook is issued 12 hours before the landfall and continues until time cyclone force or the wind is expected to prevail over interior areas. Okay, so after the cyclone is formed, and let us say if probably you must have observed all these ones at least, where we say that okay, at 3 p.m. it is expected that the cyclone will make landfall. Okay, it will hit the land surface. Okay, so this kind of warning system is adapted throughout the country to inform about the cyclone formation and its impact. Okay, I have put one small information where, for example, it says cyclone warning generation and nodal agency. There are different ministries involved in observation of formation of cyclone and so on. One is land-based observation, ocean-based observation, space-based observation, and special observations as well. Okay, IMD and ISRO and all are involved in understanding and monitoring the formation of cyclones. And it is normally communicated through televisions, radio, of course, news and internet and so on and so forth. This information is communicated to the different stakeholders. Okay, and I think I will stop with this. We, like I said, we will discuss about mitigations separately along with the case studies. Okay, so these are broad things that we should have understanding about cyclone, how it is formed, what is the intensity of cyclone, what are the stages of cyclone formations, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I will stop here, and if